Welcome to all. Today's Natural Equaling Group 98th webinar, and the topic is Ambali, the natural elixir to human beings. And the today's presenter is Dr. Khadar Millet, the Millet Man of India. In fact, now it is supposed to be Millet Man of the world. I see what are the reasons for that. And the agenda is A to Z on Ambali with Siridhanya or Siri millets. Agenda is about fermentation with Siridhanya, how it helps to fix the microbial imbalance in humans, how it helps to improve the immunity, especially during the corona days, history of Ambali or khameer in Hindi, and question answers. Before I start the session, I'll just give a small story. Uh, Once upon a time, maybe in olden days, where is a small hamlet in somewhere in the India, so they are more like uh, they are in tune living with nature, but still many of them are falling sick. Their day-to-day lifestyle and day-to-day work is something like go to forest, collect the food, and come back and eat, and at the evening listen to the stories told by the elders. Now in those scenarios, so one of the village head was telling a story saying like there was a Sagar Madhana where Danava and Deva did all everything, and Pal Samudram, milk ocean, and then they came Amrutam. And after taking Amrutam, all are got healthy, and their life become. I mean, they are no more mortals, and they become immortals. So thinking that he thought, okay, many people are getting sick nowadays. Maybe I don't know what is the reason, but let me pray to the Brahma and ask the Amrutam. Then he very rigorously and very devotionally, very dedicatedly, he did sadhana, and Brahma appeared to him and saying that what you need. Then Brahma said, Brahma asked what you need. Then this person said, okay, I need Amrutam. Then Brahma said, no, it does not belongs to me. You need to go to Lord Vishnu. So he, by doing this meditation practice, he got such a practice, such a powers that he can go to Brahma Loka, he can go to any Loka. So he went to Brahma and asked her this question, and they were saying every minute in Brahmaloka is equal to many years in Bhuloka. So he said, when Brahma said, no, this is not our category, you go to Vaikunta, then he went to Vaikunta and asked Lord Vishnu. Then last Lord Vishnu looked at him and laughed at, I already gave Amrutam for human beings on the earth. Why you came so far? Now, because you went to Brahmaloka and from there to Vaikunta, now there is no hamlet, there is no your place, there are no your people, and now people are Kali Yuga, the modern world, chemical rich modern living. So now you go back and teach your people and tell your people to take Amrutam, which is a natural elixir, which is plant based, and he told about the millets. Then okay, he started coming back to the earth, but then there comes the two Dwarapalakas, Jaya Vijaya. And he said, okay, no, if you go by your Yoga Shakti, you may take a few more minutes. So take this Pushpak Vimana and you
Okay, Sudhir, go ahead.
so yes, sir. So he started coming back in a Pushpak Vimana, and then he didn't start. So the Jaya Vijaya gave a big push. Because of the big push, the person reached early, maybe in this current time. We don't know where he is now, but we have our Dr. Khadar with us to tell about natural elixir. And who is Dr. Khadar? I mean, nowadays in the India, we don't need, not only in India, entire world doesn't need any introduction. But let me introduce Dr. Khadar, the Millet Man of India. He is a native of the Produttur town, Kadapa district. He has been working relentlessly in receiving Siridhanya, also known as a positive millets, for nearly 20 years. After having completed Masters in Science with a specialized education from Regional Institute of Education, Mysuru, he went on to get his PhD from the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. For his work involving steroids, he pursued his postdoctoral research fellowship in environmental science from Beaverton, Oregon, United States of America. His research involved deactivating deadly chemical substances such as Agent Orange at a time when food is behaving rapidly commercialized. After completing his postdoctoral research at Beaverton, Dr. Khadar felt that instead of working at a foreign country for a living, it would be meaningful to strive towards making a healthier society in his own country. Therefore, he returned to India from the US in 1997 to settle down in Mysuru. He worked hard to receive 5 different types of millets that were fast disappearing. In the process of consuming each of these millets, he discovered that the healing properties present in them could cure even the deadly diseases. Hence, he named these 5 millets Siridhanya. In order to cultivate them naturally, Dr. Khadar propounded a method called Kadu Krushi, also known as jungle farming. Dr. Khadar has been treating his patients for the various diseases by recommending the consumption of Siridhanya, different plant, tree, leaf decoctions, and homeopathic medicines in dire cases. He is of the firm opinion that paddy rice, wheat, animal milk, non-vegetarian food, untimely eating habits, genetically modified crops, chemical fertilizers, synthetic pesticides, and herbicides are instrumental in polluting the environment and food, thereby leading to the quick spread of lethal diseases. He claims that the consumption of Siridhanya can facilitate the prevention and cure of diabetes, hypertension, obesity, constipation, piles, gangrene, triglycerides, PCOD, low sperm count, skin disease, and many other lifestyle diseases. Siridhanya also prevent brain and blood-related diseases. He is ordered by the people of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana alike and pulls big crowd to his food health talks in these places. He connects all the dots by educating people about health, educating farmers about cultivation, and preventive methods in farming. People often have the misconception that Dr. Khadar is speaking only about health. However, he speaks about the wide range of topics, with health being just one aspect. His dream is a healthy and substantial society. With this, we welcome Dr. Khadar to tell about Amrutam.
Yes. Thank you for your kind words. And it is the sustainable, healthy planet is the goal of my work. Because if we do not change our food and food habits now, there will be no future for the next generations. Because the consuming culture of the Western thought process, the industrial food culture, has brought many diseases, many problems to the planet, and many fauna and flora are fast disappearing from the planet. So the dimensions of the problems are not 2 or 3 or 4. It's in different layers. And we are not going to be able to produce food at all, even if you consider rice, wheat, sugar, meat, and eggs as food. The production of these materials into future in a long term is going to be a Herculean task for the human race, because the consuming culture of these food materials, the nature being consumed to produce this. Of course, I have not added coffee and tea, which actually is 30% of the problem in destroying the planet's ecology. So indirectly, I would like to comment that we are living in an economic model which actually does not produce any wellness, neither to the human race, nor to the animals, nor to the plant kingdom. And it's a shame. It's a shame on human beings' part to continue the same path further into future. So it's high time we changed. It's high time we changed the thought process and shift our living to an ecological model. So it's important for all of us to shift from economic model to an ecological model. And to do that, we have to become very simplistic in our living, which is very connected to nature. That means we encourage ourselves to be part of nature rather than robbing the nature. And this basic assumption of being with nature is the solution to many of our problems. So we need to build smart cities, not defined by the digitalized world, smart cities defined by the ecological principles. So a smart city, in a very simplistic manner, should look like this. All around 8 directions, we need to have big forests for a big city. If we want to continue to want to have cities or transform the cities into future places, we need to de-urbanize. So you cannot de-urbanize immediately, overnight. So you start having enough spaces around the city to create the forests based on which you produce your food, vegetables, and other needed things for the forest-based food production for each city. Instead of getting pizza, burgers from Sweden or from America to India and things like that, that kind of mad transport system has to stop. We should not transport things. We should produce things locally. What I'm trying to communicate is, if you're in Bangalore, you produce all the food required for Bangalore in and around Bangalore city. Don't even think of getting it from Chennai or somewhere else. So if Hyderabad. So then you can go on miniature, small villages, small towns, small cities like that. So in Telugu, what we call is Intiko Mokka, Vidiko Vanam, Uriko Adavi. Ilaga manu adbhutamaina kalpanato we can get into a smarter living places. That being said, that's possible only if we simplify our production and our food materials. So you cannot produce the food that we are talking about, rice, wheat, and sugar, which requires enormous amounts of natural resources. So first of all, we need to get away from that. And to get away from that, we need to find the alternatives, which I think we have found in these 5 wonderful grains, which harbor a lot of fiber. When soaked, becomes enough for each meal. So 40 to 50 grams of soaked fiber you consume in the form of, say, 100 grams of Siri rice or positive millets. So that will give you the fiber enough to control your glucose release into the body. Hence, the glucose imbalance caused by fiberless rice, wheat, sugar is completely eliminated in a period of 6 months to 1 year. And then the microbial imbalance, which we have brought upon ourselves due to these technological advances, and every baby is now born through cesarean, wherein the mother used to lodge the microbial inoculum into the baby's mouth when the baby is coming out of the vagina, which is completely avoided now in the name of so-called delivering the baby through whatever reasons, which is absolute unscientific madness that the present modern world is going through. So if you can stop that, the first initial immunity. In fact, I was the first doctor talking about immunity for the last 5 to 10 years and how to improve your immunity, Saptapatra Kashaya. And I was the one who was talking about H1N1, H5N1, Jinka, Nipah, all these so-called epidemics that these guys have been trying to create, or I won't say create, have created due to the non-scientific, I would not call unscientific, because they claim to have all that in a bracket of science. So I would say, let's say non-scientific methods of producing food. So the group centralized production of meat, millions of birds, thousands and thousands of pigs, thousands and thousands of cows. And then the list goes on. Now they have, in places like China, they are doing many other animals, harvesting, all kinds of unwanted, unnatural things going on. And these are the sources of these viruses that are coming now and then and bothering the human race. And human race not having their microbial balance and disturbed by these unnatural methods of giving birth, as well as the antibiotics, steroids use, and fertilizers, pesticides used in large quantities during the production and after the babies are born, the vaccinations, the antibiotic treatments, steroid treatments, All these are slowly and steadily degenerating the healthy microbes in our gut and creating hell a lot of problem, because the microbial population in our gut is actually, according to me, second brain, without which the distribution of nutrients, the micro and macro environments in our physiological domains, and the supervising of many neurotransmitters, modulators, even genetic manipulations, all these things are actually being assisted by the microbes that may approximately weigh 1 kilo in each fellow's tummy, adult tummy. That, according to me, is actually second brain, because without which nothing happens properly. And we have been seeing a lot of evidence for many diseases that are unaccounted, and most of them are now being grouped as autoimmune diseases. And all this havoc is caused because no doctor has been worrying about this immunity of different degrees and different levels. And the immunity concept is just so wonderful in our body, that without basic immunity, even chronic diseases like heart problems, diabetes, all these lifestyle diseases also cannot be helped. That's what we have figured out in the last 20 years. So when we say we need to bring back this microbial health in our body, which we have had for millions of years, because we were living with nature and we didn't have this disconnect, and we are now disconnected, completely disconnected from the nature. So you want to have the first connection back to nature. Of course, it will take a long time for urban people to create the spaces where there are plants, trees, creepers, and fauna and flora, and that wonderful, beautiful feeling of being in nature. It takes, I am sure, another 100 years for all these cities to transform themselves. But then the first connection to our tummy is through microbes. So let us begin with that. How do we do that? How do we start that first connection with the nature? And we have disconnected ourselves. And so it starts from there. And that actually is nothing other than Ambali. And various kinds of microbes are harbored on various different nature of this fiber. Little millet, different. Khadar millet's fiber is different. Barnyard millet fiber is different. Brown top millet fiber is different. So when you actually soak these fibers, swell them with a lot of hydrated fiber, and cook them slowly and steadily on a fire, sim fire, you make porridge. And I would encourage all the people, making Ambali is the easiest thing on this planet Earth. You soak it 1 to 15 measurements. So if you take 1 tumbler or 1 measurement of your Siridhanya, be it rava, be it broken rice or flour or the whole rice itself, take 10 to 15 times of water, soak it. Well, first wash it once, throw the water away within 1 or 2 minutes, and then add 10 times water and keep it soaked for 8 to 10 hours. So you soak it in the night, cook it in the morning, or soak it in the morning, cook it in the night, and then put it in an earthen pot. And it's good if you cook in earthen pot itself directly, and then cool it in the room temperature itself. Takes half an hour or so. Then tie cotton cloth so that things start happening. There is aeration, and you have aerobic fermentation going on slowly and steadily, depending upon where you are. Geographically, the temperature around you, depending on the weather, that is the season. If you are in a hot place or cool place, the time may vary. If your temperature is around 20 degrees, it may take 15 hours. If you are 25 degrees, it may take 12 hours. If you are 30 degrees, it may take 8 hours. So to know that exactly, you can actually have milk, a small cup of milk, and have the curds, inoculum lactobacillus. And when it gets into solidified curd, that's when the fermentation is done. So this is just by the side of the earthen pot where you have the porridge, which is to become ambali. You can have this small thing. So you observe that. After that point of time, you can have the ambali ready with all the microbes, different kinds of microbes, and don't add salt. No salt when you are tying the cotton cloth. You add salt when you are about to consume. We can add pickles, you can add sambar, you can add any sauce to give you taste before you consume, not while you are tying the cloth to the pot. Okay. The reason is, if you add salt or if you add something, whichever you think, I want a nice smell, some flavored material, that can actually change the process of fermentation, the kind of microbes that are going to harbor into your ambali. All that becomes little variations will start getting in. So if you add salt, selective microbes come in. Salt increases the concentration in the porridge. So there may be some microbes that cannot tolerate higher amounts of salt. So that kind of differentiation should not happen. Selective growth of microbes should not happen. It should be allowed. There is enough salt already in the grain. Without salt, there is no living system present in the world. So sodium, potassium is very much required both in plants and animals or in microbes to transport water in a micro level from place to place. Sodium channel, potassium channel, all this happens through ions. So all these things are taken care of by nature. You just do this and then make the ambali. You have various kinds of microbes, consume that. And we have lost, all our gut is almost empty now, no microbes. So within 6 weeks, all these wonderful microbes. So keep changing the Siridhanya once in 2 days, once in 2 days. So you have Khadar Millet based microbes, brown top millet based microbes like this. And within the ambali of Kodo, you might have had various kinds of microbes because they all work in tandem, in synchronized fashion, symbiotic fashion. And they establish another wonderful way of inhabiting our intestines and then rectal areas, and then start functioning with synchronicity and symbiotic nature and start helping us, the so-called hosts. They are dependent on us and we depend on them for a lot of good things to our body. So in fact, 33% of energy that we produce has to be distributed for immune purposes, to take care of the immunity in a very big holistic fashion. And without that cover, you are not going to be healthy at all, period. So the microbial balance is so important for everyone to be healthy. And having recognized the problem of our system being completely disseminated with these antibiotics, fertilizers, pesticides, the residues, steroids, all kinds of hangama created in our body, even before the baby is born and after birth, within 5-6 years, we pump in so many chemicals, vaccines, steroids, antibiotics. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's like Hanumantan Bala, Anjaneya state. And it's unimaginable, the unscientific things that we are doing and doing things on our kids and ourselves. So I want this madness to stop. And to stop that madness, you have to think properly. And to think properly, you need your gut microbes being healthy. So if your tummy is calm, then your brain becomes calm. You can start thinking properly. So unless we establish this microbial balance in our tummies, no one is going to be healthy, according to me. And that's why I keep saying, if there has to be healthy human race, and we have to get back to this simple way of doing things. And I have already spoken about Ambali, this wonderful grains having all kinds of nutritional. You can get to the nutritional chart that we have provided in our booklets. It is mines. I mean, there I can describe it as mine of nutritional values. You can just go on digging. Everything is available in these 5 grains, and no need to look for anywhere for anything else. So Ambali alone will give you, so 33% of your health is taken care of by taking Ambali, and the remaining 33%, because of glucose imbalance, that can be easily covered by our wonderful 5 grains, whose carbohydrate to fiber ratio is in single digit. That means the release of glucose into our bodies, the blood system is slow and steady and regulated. So Ambali does that very efficiently. So now you are talking about 66% of your health being given by Ambali. And the remaining 33% depends on your habits, good habits like Surya Namaskar, yoga, exercises, thinking positively, being alert, and helping others, and being happy and not getting disturbed, being tolerant, and all these mental, and then you can say spiritual, and then you say adhyatmika, all those kinds of things. So this is the way I'm trying to simplify for common man. So all these things are required for being healthy. And in this, these 5 millets play an important role. So if your food is right, then your problems are solved. And if your food is not right, you are entering huge network of troubles, which you cannot entangle at all. One after the other, you're going to get sucked into, and you are going to be led into ICU kind of situation. Okay, so this is as simple as that. So people have to understand that there are elements that are required for our body. And I'm trying to actually communicate into modern man's language. Say, our Ayurveda system has spoken about all the things that I'm speaking in a very different language. Okay. And of course, nowadays people are not even able to read Sanskrit. Forget about understanding what is written. So it is very difficult. The way they thought, the sadhus, rishis, and the amount of information they have encoded into these slokas, and it's incredible. Actually, it is spellbounding. It is awesome. Awesome. I don't know what words I have to use. And it is very complicated too. And unless you understand a lot of things, the dimension in which these guys keep talking is amazing. I mean, it takes, in 4 years, 5 years courses are not enough. It takes a lifetime of involved, passionate studies about our systems. And so, but then how can you communicate all these things to common man? So that's why I started making PDFs, handbooks, and try to squeeze in the information into common man's language. So that's how I've been functioning in the last 20 years. So Ambali is the ultimate food. Whatever may be your disease, it doesn't matter. First, fill your tummy with Ambali. That's why, in fact, especially cancer and these immune-based systems, Ambali becomes the most important thing. In fact, thousands of, not thousands, lakhs, maybe crores of people have been taken care of by this Ambali system. And many people all over South India, in fact, even North India now, in fact, even in America, I have been getting a lot of WhatsApp messages and phone calls that they have been doing fine once they started Ambali. Initially, they find it little complicated. What is this Ambali, fermentation, this and that? But it's just a matter of 3 to 4 weeks. You get used to it. And then there is nothing to look back. Such wonderful and easy. In fact, a 5-year-old kid can do it if you teach them. There is no cooking skills are involved in this. Absolute simple, steady way of doing things. So it is your brain in your tummy. And what it means is it distribute nutrients in the micro environment wherever you require whatever nutrients that is lacking in your place. So when you are injured, when you have some stomach ulcer, so you require certain basic ingredients that require for it to be healing. So who decides it? Who decides it? It is the microbe, that is population that is in your body. Actually, it is 10 times more than your body cells. If you have 10 cells in your body, if you count, there are 100 or maybe 1,000 cells of the microbes in your body. And when you do not take care of your second brain, how do you think? Because the first brain is dependent on the second brain. And of course, second brain is dependent on the first brain. This communication is there. And it is a whole thing. It is a whole thing. There is nothing like your hand, my eye, your anus. Everything has to function in a coordinated, holistic fashion. So there is nothing like my tummy is all right, my brain is all right, my hand is all right. So you feel the pain, even if your finger is cut, you feel the pain in the body. I mean, it's here or it's here. You don't know, isn't it? So in this so-called modern day, they say, oh, it is some antibiotic. If I apply it, cancel. But then that antibiotic is gone and damaged something else. So that's not the way you heal. You have to heal gently, and peacefully, and in the right manner. So for all these things to happen, you start thinking for your body, you are going to be in trouble. It is the body who has to do everything by itself. And that natural processes have to be natural. For that, you need to have certain disciplined way of doing things, which are going to be again decided by nature, not by you. So over a period of time, our ancestors have come up with wonderful observations and follow it. But the sad part is that we have not been able to take this information and standardize it again and hand over to the present generations. And sadly, we are also fallen prey to this Western thought process of selling our brain. Intellectual property, patent culture, all these things have come into play. And we are trying to patent turmeric, we are trying to patent neem, we are trying to patent cow. What nonsense is this? What nonsense is going on? It belongs to nature. You belong to nature. So you started selling your brains, and that's how you are becoming stupid. So you start selling your intelligence, and there is nothing more stupid than that, isn't it? So we need to recognize all these things and then start functioning, behaving in a natural fashion. And it's when we understand things that are very complicated, the way nature does is simplifies. It simplifies things. And so we need to have simple mind to understand complicated things. And you complicate yourself, then you cannot understand these things. So you've got to live in a simple fashion. Simplicity is actually the path to overcome the complex situations. And that's all that I want to communicate, actually. We'll have more time for question and answers. So, Ambali, it is very easy to make. It starts correcting, and the second brain is created in your tummy, which we have lost in the last 40, 50 years due to our own making. Embracing the Western thought process and putting a lot of chemicals into our body, both in terms of producing food as well as in terms of medicines, and not only medicines, the food processing process, I mean the processed foods and storage, all this nonsense, started happening. And we started packing our food in plastics, and not wife food, we are packing everything, medicines also in plastic dabbas. And unnaturally, even Ayurveda fellows are following the suit. They are also making churnas, lekhyas, and packaging it in plastic dabbas. Very, very bad, no? Natural things in plastic dabbas. If dried systems, okay, you can transport in plastic or something. But even that is not, according to me, that good. If we have to find natural alternatives for all these bad things that we have been used to in the last 40, 50 years in the name of science and technology. I'm not blaming science and technology. We do need science and technology, but it's high time we started thinking on a broader platforms, not just reducing things into Newtonian mechanics and based on posture germ theory or Darwin's I am better than you, you are better than me. All these kinds of thought processes have to be left behind. And Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Let everything that is born on this planet be peaceful and joyful. And that should be our mantra for future generations. Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. And we are, I think, beginning. And Corona, I think, has opened many people's eyes towards this direction. And I see coming future, slowly people turning towards this holistic way of looking at things. And I hope, and I am very hopeful, further into future, we are all going to tread this path of local producing food, locally distributing it, not creating damages to the environment and nature, and hope we live through this present hard times and find paths that are wonderful into the future. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the detailed discussion on Ambali. So I have a question, sir. So
Yes.
you mentioned many times Siridhanyas are not related to a local place. They are related to all over the world. I mean, they are local and also they are global.
They are local and they are universal.
Universal. So what about Ambali? I mean, it depends on any region or country.
Yeah, Ambali is a method which actually I have noticed in almost every part of the world. I went to Nigeria, I saw, and then I was just talking to Uganda people which are very far away from Nigeria. And I have gone to our southern part of the Mahamadeshwar Betta here, and then Western Ghats, and I have gone to Vishakhapatnam, Arakuloya, and I have gone to Himalayan areas, the Darjeeling. Everywhere, if you meet the olden generation, like 100-year-old, 90-year-old, they all have something to do with this fermented food processes. And if you go to Gujarat, in fact, they were hiding their food in bamboo bottles, digging the pit, keeping it for 1 or 2 days, and then coming back and then eating that food. And many people actually have fermented many different kinds of carbohydrate and fiber-rich roots like yams, tapioca kind, and so all around the planet, the Ambali is there, and fermented breads, and you go to Europe. In fact, they have this bakery fellows used to have the earlier fermented broths, adding to the next generation. If that is not done, in fact, they started hiding that kind of fermented broths so that their bread becomes tasty, their bread becomes better, and all these things. Of course, after having added and fermented, they heat and bake, they kill, but they have the microbial left out metabolites. And so to that extent, they are following. So different formats of fermentation processes have been followed all parts of the globe. So Ambali is again a concept universal, but locally there might be small variations. And I'm trying to communicate to people this is, and having understood the science of it, and we are trying to put it in place. And then the handbook details that. And of course, Dr. Sarla in her Millet Magic YouTube has clearly made videos about how to make, and so that the information is passed on to all over the world, and they can make Ambali with good interloculated fiber-rich carbohydrate material. It need not be these millets alone. But these millets are so easy to grow and easy to keep for years together. After that, you can dehusk and make ambali. So millets ambali is ultimate. I mean, for a practical purpose.
Yeah.
But the principles of making ambali are very clearly demonstrated to the public. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my thinking process has always been to communicate the processes and the information to the people. Let the people be empowered. And we should not hold the information. You come to me, I will make ambali and give you. That's not right. So we need to pass it on. And that's what I have been trying to, including decoctions. The decoctions that we are all, I have delineated in my PDFs. I have actually collected all the information about the plants that are available right now, commonly available for common man. I mean, a poor lady, an auto driver should also get his hands onto. I could have gone and said, okay, Gloriosa Superboy, it's very good for. Where is it? You have to go deep into the forest. It's difficult. And then I can go deep into the forest, make a medicine out of it, put it in dabba and say, come and take it. And that's not the right way to do. And that's what has been happening. So all this, putting it in dabba and trying to sell. Okay, there may be some utilage for a point of view, you can do that. I'm not against it at all. But then if we can manage to pass on the information for people so that they are empowered, a common man on the street has to get the benefit of the knowledge that our ancestors, forefathers have passed on to us. And the knowledge is not yours. You need to pass it on. You need to pass it on for the common man's well-being, wellness.
Wonderful, sir. Sir, what is the difference between Siridhanya Ambali and other millets Ambali? And also, you can make Ambali from wheat and paddy rice also.
Yes, certainly. You can make wheat and paddy rice Ambali. But the glucose imbalance is not corrected when you are taking Ambali of rice and wheat. And that's where the problems begin, isn't it? So if your glucose imbalance is created by that Ambali, then the problems are going to slowly accumulate. Am I right? That's why I have told you very clearly that interloculated carbohydrate and fiber. See, some yams are there whose structure is like that. I mean, the fiber is interloculated. So you can ferment some fruits. Of course, the fruits, because of carbohydrate being high, will enter into alcoholic condition. Then you start. I mean, that's the way you make your brandy or feni or alcoholic preparation. Brewing, basically, it is the fermentation. So you should be able to stop at that point. And even our fermentation, Ambali also, if you allow it further for 2 more days, it starts getting into that conditions of rotten things, you know. So that's why we have given very clear instructions. Ambali is that. And once it starts, in fact, the indication is it starts releasing little water, which is the beginning of your fermentation process going further. So don't do that. So that's how you stop your Ambali. And you will get to know about it in a matter of 4 to 5 weeks, you know, when to stop fermentation. And many people think you can keep it in fridge and then bring back. You can do that. But then once you stop the microbes and then go into hibernation and then bring it back, you know, all that is different. You know? So I urge people not to do this putting in the fridge and bringing back and all that. So make enough. Don't make too much of Ambali. So within 2-3 weeks, you will know what to do, what not to do. Yeah. This is an important point. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Many people keep asking the question because they can't prepare it one go. Yeah.
That is the problem with urban people. You know, they want to do something else. You know, watch TV or I don't know, whatever. They keep running into the traffic and they spend a lot of time in traffic itself.
Yeah, sir. About the meal legumes. So can we combine the legumes and make Ambali? I mean, any Any combinations you prefer and you don't know, you suggest to avoid?
No, you can be creative. You see, one such is our idli dosa business. That you have the urud dal and any grain you put. What it does is it selectively makes microbes. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if once you do something, the processed fermentation becomes different. You see, you take urud dal, 10% or 15% and put it in any of these grains, starting from brown top millet to including rice, the so-called rice. What will happen? For the next day, you will get the same smell. That means same microbes have taken over that. One type of. Not only in India, you go and do it in America, you go and do it in Himalayas, you will get the same smell. That means the same microbes are coming. And that is the point I'm trying to make. When you do different grains, depending on the nature of that, things happen. So when you choose a particular combination, you are encouraging particular group of microbes. Am I right? And this is the point. This is the experiment you can find out. So you mix urud dal with any of this grain, all one after the other, you get the same smell. That's good. It's okay, no problem. You can have, but then do we have a method of? So what you need to do, actually, you mix urud dal and grain, and we grind and keep it. The fermentation takes place. Then we heat and eat, and that's one way of cooking. But we are only happy with the metabolites that they have produced. Even they are very good for us because vitamin B12, some of these chemicals we cannot make by ourselves. Only microbes make. And that is the beauty of it. See, it's not just that being there, they also make certain things that we require. So the heated fermented products give you the metabolites. But when you take Ambali the way we have prescribed, you get the microbes themselves and start correcting the imbalance that we have created. So when you eat idli dosa, you are getting the fermented metabolites. But when you are eating Ambali, you are getting the metabolites as well as the microbes. And that's the difference.
Right. Sir, when it comes to microbes, because we are inviting the microbes and we are taking it, so it doesn't become a non-vegetarian food?
It's actually the other way around. Because of microbes, you make non-vegetarian into vegetarian, vegetarian into non-vegetarian. So in you are making your body, the meat that you are making, it's because of microbes that are in your body, which are creating vitamin B12, which is very essential for meat making and things like that. So I'm giving you one example. There are a lot more steps to go and do these things, okay? And if you're dead, say I'm dead, I'm buried in the soil, and my body is being degenerated by the microbes, and then it is given to plants. So it is the meat converted into a plant. So it is this wonderful bridge that you are talking. So microbes are neither non-vegetarian nor vegetarian. It is the bridge between vegetarian and non-vegetarian.
So one more
So
question is,
that's how I keep telling in many of my lectures, milk is non-vegetarian, buttermilk is vegetarian. You understand the difference?
yes, because of the microbes, it will convert.
Yes.
And so what about, sir, our tummy is acidic. I mean, whatever the food we eat, it will acids are released and it will digest our food. So what about these microbes? Once these microbes goes to our stomach, will not they die?
Yes, they do. And some of them survives and then start inhabiting our body, and then they start growing. And that's why we have to keep taking our food once or twice in a week minimum, once you are healthy, this Ambali. And it is called acid rush. And our acid rush is 4.5. I mean, it doesn't go below that. And there are different microbes that can actually sustain the pH. There are, say, the same thing happens in fact, cats and dogs and even tigers. Their acidic rush even goes to up to 1.5 or 2. So there are certain microbes that survive and then go And why? Actually, every microbe tries to transform itself, transmutate itself, and then adapt. And only that is going to inhabit your gut microbe. And all these things have been studied. So absolutely no problem. And I can give you a physical example, one for you. Like imagine a lot of bisons are migrating from huge pastures, and there is a river in which crocodiles are there. You know, now the bisons, they do not stop. They are in hundreds and hundreds, thousands. They just run through the river. So one or two, crocodiles may catch some weak bisons, and once they catch, so in that path, there are few of them being sacrificed. But then out of 10,000, maybe 9,980 bisons pass through, and few of them may be caught by the crocodiles and eaten. And the same thing. So the acid rush is there, you pass, and some of them go through, some of them die. Yeah, all these things happen in nature. Yeah, it's not one thing, one dimension.
So, sir, taking Ambali before food is preferred or after food?
Yeah, I prefer before. So that's why I say first thing after you have decoctions and all, take. And even if you want to eat in the afternoon session, you can take Ambali after 4 or 5 minutes. So you can eat the other foods.
Okay. And you mentioned you can add anything like sambar or rasam, anything which is not more hot and more cool.
Yeah. So, heat wise, so that the microbes are not killed.
Yeah.
But actually, you can even warm the Ambali if you do not like cold sensation in your mouth, but don't eat very hot. But you can boil the water in a different vessel, switch off the stove, and keep a steel vessel. You can transfer the Ambali to a steel tumbler, then keep it for a few minutes. It gets warm and no problem. The microbes do not die, because if you shock the microbes with high temperatures, then there is a different reaction for the microbes. So we do not want that to happen. If you can actually slowly heat that warmth, there is no problem. They don't die. And so you can actually have little warm Ambali if people who are liking warm things. Okay. There are certain people who do not like cold things. And actually Ambali is not going to be cold unless you keep it in the fridge. Okay. So it's at the room temperature. So, but some people don't like, they want it always warm. So you can do that. No problem. We have mentioned that in our PDFs also.
Yeah, we can use a double pot method. Yeah.
Double boiling it is called. But don't boil it, just use the water.
Yeah.
Double boiling method is something else, like you want to heat the milk and things like that.
So microwave can be used for cooking Ambali?
I don't prefer microwave oven for anything.
Okay. And sir, what about mixing fruits like mango? Say suppose mangoes are also...
Ambali you can have, when Ambali is ready, you can have mango pulp into it and eat. Yeah, you want a little sweetish flavor, no problem.
Okay, so any other...
That's not going to bother the microbes, The external things you are going to add, and the tummy is going to take care of it, and they do their business of passing through and then try to inhabit the things.
Okay, so because when we're adding fruits is not disturbing them.
No, anything you can add, because it's not going to stay long time. No, you're going to eat. It is for your flavor and the taste you are adding all this. You can even add gongura pachadi, no problem.
Okay. Yeah. Sir, and who...
In fact, I keep telling for Corona fellows, drink Ambali with achar. Achar is important. No, vitamin C is needed. So,
yes.
Common man, poor man, and the calculation, if you take 1 kilo of the Siridhanya, add 20 times water and then make Ambali, 40 to 50 people can have. That means even if you pay 100 rupees for kilo, 40 people's Ambali is taken care of. That means each person is taken care of by 2.5 rupees. You understand how beautiful? The most important thing you can get for 2 rupees 50 paisa, even at this juncture of time. Can you believe that? So simple, na? So any poor man also can have this.
So for persons who have a very chronic issues, and so they should be completely on the Ambali. And what about the acute condition people?
You see, sir, when you are acute condition, you need a doctor's help. Okay.
Okay.
You have to go to a homeo doctor or good Ayurveda doctor. Please don't go to allopathy doctor. That's all the information from my side. If
Okay.
it is ICU condition, you go there. Otherwise, please go to a good homeo doctor or good Ayurveda doctor. Both can help you to manage the acute conditions, to stabilize you. And once you are stabilized, then the Siridhanya and decoctions will take over and help you over a period of time. So don't expect the protocols for emergency conditions, that there is a block in your heart and then you are not able to breathe, and don't think the Ambali, the protocol given, will help you immediately. No, it's not going to help you. You need doctor's help when there is a presenting condition is severe. Okay. So don't mistake the, I keep telling you, it takes 6 months to 2 years for anything to happen for you when you follow this. You see, we are talking about a complete system, how to become healthy and being healthy, continue to maintain healthy, sustainable, healthy living we are talking about. I'm actually not talking about dealing with acute conditions, and that let people be aware of. Acute conditions have to be dealt with doctors who are well knowledge about acute conditions. So please go to good homeo doctors, good allopathy doctors. Please avoid, because their system is rid with lot of problems, and they create more problems for you, if not immediately, later time to come. So as much as possible, I'm not saying don't go to them at all. Go to them when everything fails. The ICU condition, as of now, they are good at it. They will somehow manage, if possible, to put you out of danger. After that, again, come back to this, either to Ayurveda or homeopathy. So it is the last ICU they have developed. So follow that. ICU condition, you go there. Okay. But then if you have good homeopathy doctor or Ayurveda doctor, please consult them for your acute conditions.
Right. Sir, what about the corona positive people, and to prevent the corona, what is the role of Ambali?
The most important thing is Ambali for you, actually,
Okay.
for all common man. Everyone actually has to drink, in especially pandemic and epidemic conditions. They are the frontline defense, Forget about your immune system. It will not allow things to go to immune system also. If you have good, healthy microbial gut microbes, it will take care of the problem in the first place itself, because don't think they are only in your gut. A lot of microbes are there in your sinuses, lung, everywhere. They are there, different kinds of things. So they are positively vibrating with your system. They take care of you very well. First line of defense is microbial populations, and that is the immunity that we are talking about, which is very good for people who are on Ambali. And those guys will not even develop the response parameters of a regular immunology in its so-called modern day terminologies, like interleukins or the cytokinin rush. All that will not be even presented for these guys, because they are strong from within, and so they take care of things even at the periphery level. So that's the way it works. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So Ambali is very important, which actually many Ayurveda doctors are also not completely aware of. This fermented food, and with microbes and balancing the microbes in the gut, is not talked much. Maybe some few very experienced, very well knowledgeable Ayurveda doctors know about this.
Okay. Sir, what about the patients or people who have a sensitive intestines, like IBS problem? Because they take more the dietary food, they will have more complications. What is the suggestion for them?
Yeah, most of them are actually already addicted to steroids. So the best way to bring them out of that drug addiction is to slowly get back to with Ambali only. We have done hundreds of IBS, Crohn's, ulceritis, colitis. All these kinds of problems have been completely healed through Ambali. And I suggest them to take Ambali for first 6 to 9 weeks and nothing else, in form of liquidish porridge, which is fermented, which will do wonders. Initially, yeah, I always keep telling people first 2 to 3 weeks, you may find it odd and difficult. That's because of your psychologically, you're not tuned to it. So by mind, you have to keep the doctor has to keep counseling and make the patient go through first 2 3 weeks. And once that happens, then I can tell you now, there are so many families, they say without Ambali, they cannot pass a day. First, they have to have one lota Ambali. I mean, that's it. It's become so important in their life. And it is important. It is very important. Yeah.
Okay. Sir, many Ayurvedic medicines or herbals are suggested to take empty morning in the early day.
Yes.
So what
Yes,
about
yes.
Ambali? The morning is better or evening is better?
No, Ambali is not a decoction or a medicinal thing. It is a system filling. So you can take any time of the day, but eat first instead of mixing with lot of food. Like you are full and then you want to take Ambali. That's not the right time. So first you take Ambali and then wait for 5-10 minutes and then you can have your food.
Okay. Sir, there are some medical conditions where some persons don't have a large intestine. So in those cases, how Ambali will help?
Yeah, whatever little intestine left for them, these microbes will start helping. So for anyone, microbes are important. And see, they will also start adjusting. If that fellow has less rectum, they will go a little higher. And so they will find their way. Don't worry about it.
So when Ambali is a natural elixir, how about living only on Ambali, nothing else?
No, that's not going to be right because we need a lot of other things. I mean, no, you need vegetables, you need greens, Yeah, maybe for a few days or for a few weeks, even if you don't have anything, Ambali will make you all right, okay? But then only Ambali, I mean, it's like you need to be a sadhaka. Like, there are many sadhus in Himalayas. Maybe they are eating only 1 or 2 leaves or 1 or 2 certain things like that. And see that an extreme condition you're talking about, which I don't think we should worry about. I mean, I have actually met a sadhu in near when we went to Dutch. They are great fellows are there. I mean, we don't know their metabolism. I mean, a lot of studies have to be done. I mean, there are, I mean, our mind-boggling, defying things are there in nature and in the world. So there are people who don't eat anything at all. I believe there are some individuals who practice and they just sit and meditate for years together. I mean, it's mind-boggling. We just have to prostrate ourselves in front of those guys and come back, and it's incredible. You don't ask me such big things. I am a small man.
Okay.
I don't know what they do, how they do. I mean, it's mind-boggling. I have not got time to go and research upon those guys. If I get time, if I'm blessed to do such things by God, I'll be very happy to do that. But to translate those wonderful things into common man's knowledge, you need a lot of experimentation and understanding, and it requires a lifetime study, I guess.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So there is one story which I want to tell. So there is a border security force now, which is very active and preventing all the terrorists to entering to the India or someplace.
Actually, why you guys are stuck with these terrorists, this and see, that is the sadness of our present society. We are looking at everything, suspicion, terror, war. See, our minds are so polluted that in fact we are actually suspecting our own people to be terrorists. And, it's a sad state. I agree, it's a reality. Go ahead with your story.
Now the question is how the microbes in Ambali will help to protect us within our body. How microbes in the Ambali will protect us within our body.
Yeah, they are going to become yours. They are going to inhabit and transform themselves as a working colonies in your body, and they are having the bridge between you and your cells, your epithelial cells, if not epithelial cells, some deeper organic cells also. So they are contacting, communicating, transporting, doing everything. In fact, they become part of you and you become part of them. So that's how they are establishing the neurotransmitters and then trying to communicate your. In fact, some of people have done some work without good microbial population, your moods also will be different. So if you have good microbial health, you're always happy and peaceful and joyful. So they are not any more different from you. They have become part of you and they are protecting you. They are looking at other things coming into your body as a part of you. As you said, BSF, I mean, say our Shainikas, again, to get back to your story. Do you have any contact with the fellow who is patrolling the Himalayan terrain, Indian Army? But he is protecting you. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
You have no contact, but he is connected to you. Am I right? And that's, it doesn't sound well, but it is Newtonian mechanics. You don't understand. But then we are connected because of this bond of Deshabhakti. He is protecting us because he loves India. And we are living peacefully because of him there. The same thing, the microbe. I don't know the Punjabi who is patrolling there and is protecting us. Am I right?
Yes.
So how do you manage this? And the same thing, we do not know. You think you don't, the microbe, yes. But then we are taking care of him, his family, we're giving some money and things like that. So for the paltry salary that we pay, he is willing to pay his life. See, this is the problem with all of us. See, we are actually connected beyond this money. And that's why I keep blabbering this word. Let's get out of this economic model and live in an ecological model. In fact, the paradox is the army people are working on an ecological model. They actually are entrenched with so much of patriotism that they're willing to give up their lives for the paltry money that we pay for them. You see? It's incredible. And that's why you get this emotional outbursts when you see such events and such things. And the same thing, take care of our farmers. What amount of money, what respect you are giving, but they keep producing food, whether it is chemical ridden or whatever it is. They're working hard day in and day out, 3 months, 4 months to get small kothambari, that coriander leaves. It takes minimum of 30, 40 days, to take care of. But then you go and start like a very, very bad way. You start, this is 5 rupees. Why do I give 5 rupees? You give me for 2 rupees. Like this we are talking.
Yeah.
So we don't have respect for people who deserve respect. But that's because of the present day corporate culture that has created. And we have respect for fellows who are playing cricket, even this pandemic condition. They are getting crores of rupees. And what? Where are we? What are we talking? All nonsense, topsy-turvy world we are living.
Yeah, we'll go into the next question, sir. So, during Corona days, you many times mentioned take vitamin B, C, D in natural form, and Ambali is a good thing. And take any fruits which have C vitamin, or if you don't have money, then go for achar, and then go for sunbath for D vitamin.
Yes.
Now, many people had followed that, and I have some testimonials saying that they went for a thyroid test and they have to take the antibodies test. Now they have a full of antibodies. That means Corona came to them and gone.
To them, and gone. Yes,
and it's like they don't have any single symptoms, any sickness,
no discomfort. Yes, no disease at all.
We got one more member where he mentioned he
doesn't even have antibodies or nothing.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what is the front line. Front line is active there. The microbial health is so good in his body that it didn't even allow that to be presented to your immune system so that it can generate antibodies.
Yeah,
that's the way it works. Yeah.
so the contest is his wife got the COVID and his son got and his mother-in-law got, and he was in with a family with his son for whole
Yes.
period.
Yes.
And interestingly, he doesn't have any symptoms and he doesn't have antibodies. So in the screen, we can see the lab test reports, what is mentioned. And yeah, Mr. Murli, can please ask your questions. And the questions are also mentioned in the screen.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Kadaroli, sir. I've been listening to your videos for the last 2.5 years, and I think over the last 1 year, I should say, I think I took almost 300 days Ambali. In fact, I got a lot of improvement in my digestion and all otherwise. Now, during this corona, initially, when we had the symptoms on 29, I thought mine was also false negative in the latest language.
Yeah. False negative.
And then, yes, my son and myself is in one room, and my wife and mother-in-law is in another room. And symptoms was mild only for them. Kind of a bit of fever for 2 days, and all. Later they recovered.
Yes.
And then mine, when I tested, antibodies after 1 month, that is last 1 week back. Surprisingly, I don't have antibodies, and my son did have the antibodies, and he was positive as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really strange for me that time. Then I approached Sudhir. Okay.
No, it's not strange. That means you have the front wall itself is built very highly. That's what your BSF border security force is working for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, that's okay. Thanks, Sudhir.
Very nice. In fact, I have had this kind of reports, many people reporting back to me saying that this happened, and many have had very good antibodies, complete antibodies. So, and that's phenomenal positive results for all of us. And just 6 weeks, if you do this, most of us will be fine. And that's what I keep telling. What is the future? How do we face the coming pandemics? It's just this. That Corona handbook is there. If everyone follows for 6 weeks, then you are in. No problems at all. Very simple. And that's what I'm happy about, because we now have simple information can be shared all across the globe, and anyone can do it without any problem. And we can all face any kind of virus. It's just not Corona. We do not know what is going to come. So, and that's why I have been talking about this Sankramika Rogagalu and Saptapatra Kashaya. All that is very important in our lifestyle. That is very important in Siri Jeevan Marg.
Yeah. So that's what I was telling, when the police caught the terrorist or Naxalites after the bomb blast, that is no use.
Yes.
When they catch them before the blast, that is good.
Yeah, that is good.
In the case where people have antibodies generated, they don't have any symptoms, that means the blast has happened somewhere without any property loss or life loss.
Yes.
But here, in this case, I mean, when I came to know about this, for time being, I thought, okay, is this something wrong, something with trouble? And then
no trouble at all. Yeah. You're doing good. You're doing good.
So, sir, another question is, some doctors suggested some people not to take Ambali because they have skin problems. So what do you suggest in those cases?
No, once a day, everyone should take Ambali. Nothing to worry at all.
So at least they'll start with the 1 spoon a time and then slowly start increasing, something like that. Because
no, actually, it's nothing to do with Ambali. All problems are connected to the imbalances. So, don't worry about this. These guys don't know what Ambali is. They don't know the microbial system, gut microbes. In fact, all people are talking about it only now. I have been talking about this for the last 10, 15 years. So, I mean, all these guys are talking. In fact, the word immunity is being talked only in the last 1.5 years. And I was the only doctor talking about it for the last 10, 15 years. So, I mean, I don't want to claim anything, but so all these guys are talking right now, no, Ambali does this, Ambali does that. They don't have an experience. We have been doing it for the last 15, 20 years, and I've been watching many patients coming to my clinic, suggesting them they're doing it, coming back, reporting. So we have been collecting a lot of information. And this is what we have done, Pramanikarana. We have redone the experiments, collected the information, kind of authenticated it. That's what is happening with us. We are not simply talking out of the hat. And even the Ayurvedic concepts, I'm not simply talking, I'm actually putting into practice, and practice that is possible for common man. I'm not actually making churna, lehya, and then trying to say, because that's very complicated processes which an Ayurvedic doctor can only do. I can do it, but that means everyone has to come to me. So how can I transport the whole system, simplify it, and make it available for public so that the public man, common man, the poor man on the street is empowered with the information that he can keep himself healthy? Because how can you deal with 1.3 billion people? Even if 10% fall sick, it's 1.3 crores. I mean, what medical system can deal with this kind of numbers? It's impossible. It's impossible. So think logically and logistically. The only way for me was to reach out to the common man and inform the people how to be healthy. And that's what I have been doing sincerely.
Yeah. So the bigger and complex is the problem, simple and shorter is the solution.
Yes, simplify the situation, you are getting a better solution.
Now, because of the corona, maybe the one wave or second wave or 10th wave.
You don't know. These guys can create another wave, because they do stupid things, and the wave after wave is coming. If only you were to keep quiet, it would have just passed away.
Yeah. So the Saptapatra Kashayas, what you mentioned, and the Ambali and Eco BCD formula, what I say, is really helping many, and we are getting many testimonials within our network and within our families. So now a question is about the post-COVID patients. So many got COVID and they got recovered, maybe through allopathy medicines or maybe steroids, because now their body is full of antibiotics and steroids. Now, how to use Ambali to cleanse those things, everything from our body?
Yeah, absolutely the same procedure. No need to change. Because they can regulate themselves. That is the point. The microbial populations regulate themselves. They live on a symbiotic basis, the principle. They work as a unison. They communicate, they connect, they synchronize. They live in a symbiotic way with ourselves put together. So what is required is kept, what is not required is thrown out and dealt with. So please go through the same procedures without problems. And the Machipatri, Parijat, and Gilai, these three kashayams help a lot on post-COVID condition. In fact, just yesterday, one patient came to my clinic. He was paralyzed and almost went into coma after the second vaccination. Before vaccination, he was COVID positive. Then he took vaccination and was there for 20 days in the hospital. Then he was all right for 10, 15 days. And then he started losing his speech and walking, and he was on bed. And then they went to the doctor. The doctor gave up. And then I had to go and see him in his house because they couldn't even bring. And now it is 23rd day. They are on these kashayams and our Ambali. And I actually asked them to put him in the a wheelchair and put him into the sun every day in the morning. Unluckily, we had rains now here, but even there is rain, I said morning, just keep him in the sun with the dissipated sun also. So the vitamin D, and of course, we have another technique of giving vitamin D, that is sun-dried mushrooms. You make soup, you curry, that also helps to some extent. So we did all this. Now it is 23rd day. He actually came up to my clinic climbed by himself the first floor and then sat and talked to me and then went very happily. So we have had very severe case of problems. We have taken care, and not only him, he is of course very, very acute and very severe case, left out and dropped out case. But we have many intermediary stages after vaccination, before vaccination, many problems. We have been dealing with regularly for the last 1.5 years. I have been seeing minimum of 10 to 15 COVID patients this way or that way. And and I have been like this. I mean, I'm like this all the time. So you can tell corona viral dose is high, this, that, and and I'm just with my juba and paisama, and at the most I keep a mask because we have to keep following the rules. So I just keep a mask, and I don't handle with gloves, and I never have done that. And in fact, we shake hand with people, tell them, give them confidence. In fact, one girl, 38-year-old, no, I call girl, I mean a woman, came. She was scared to death once she got to know she's positive. And then everyone put her aside, and even her husband put her in a different place. Then his son came and told. Then I just said, I just went into her house and told her, touched her, don't worry, ma, it is nothing to worry. And believe me, in 2 days she was all right. So it is we are scaring people. There's nothing to worry about these things. If you are immune strong, that is the point. I'm not saying there is no corona, it's not killing people. It does. It does. If your field is weak, if your field is strong, nothing bothers you. And that is the point we are trying to communicate. So doctors have to give confidence to the public. And I have been doing that even before this happened. I sent out a video. Do this, do this, do this, and be fearless. And that's what it is. And all these things are not going to help you. Okay, they are all statistical. You close your mouth, you close your nose, and it may actually cause trouble on a longer run, because you have to eliminate your carbon dioxide completely, and you keep accumulating, you will become sick.
Sir, there are some situations where the people has to forcefully take to vaccines. So how Ambali or what the protocol, what you suggested in the COVID protocol kit?
Obviously, see, what are vaccines, whether they are weakened virus or some piece of it cloned or mRNA artificially involved or whatever it is, it's all again the same parts of the virus. Am I right?
Yes.
So the antibody system that you're going to develop can deal with that. How different it is not very different. Of course, you have some adjuvants, some stabilizers, which are some chemicals that are all not going to pose any trouble if your body is dealing with a toxic morbid waste, which we are making it capable of by making them eat this wonderful fibrous grains, which can do all this. In fact, the fiber in itself can clean a lot of dirt in your body. In fact, that's one of the major roles that our fibrous grains, with their wonderful enriched fiber content, are. That is the key to keep you healthy. I mean, every day we are cleaning our system. Am I right? Little millet cleans your reproductive system. Khadar millet cleans your immune and blood production system, that is bone marrow. And your foxtail millet cleans your lungs and other things. Barnyard cleans your soft parts. So like that. So that's the whole way of doing things.
Sir, and the last question. So there are some decoctions you mentioned in the COVID kit, in the regular protocols. So Gilai is not advised for those having autoimmune disorders. So what you suggest on this? I mean,
no. In the course of the order of 7 kashayas, nothing will bother. See, on individual basis, Gilai will work. But the way Gilai is given in Ayurvedic system, they make some churna, they do this, they boil and all that. But our presentation of giloy is very different. The decoction, just boil the leaf, take the water soluble extract and present. That is not the same thing as you are eating giloy leaf or making some giloy churna or something like that. So there is qualitative difference between the way we are presenting in our protocols, the decoctions. It's not a complete Ayurvedic way of doing things. It's a very highly sophisticated way of doing things because of the knowledge that we have gained through homeopathy, through following other systems, the knowledge of immunology, knowledge of lot of toxic materials. I have dealt with many toxic compounds, chemicals, and how they behave in different systems, microbes, mammals, and plants. All this knowledge of these systems we have come to that decoction method, which is water soluble. So there are a lot of things that go into this. So many people think, oh, giloy means, oh, giloy. No, the decoction method is absolutely very sophisticated and very different from many of the Ayurvedic preparations. And being water soluble makes it absolutely no harm to the body. So all this, lot of knowledge has gone into designing these things. Yeah, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but that's what it is.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your valuable time, and thanks to the participants. With this, we conclude today's webinar, and sorry, we can't take further questions. And thank you, Padmaja Garu and Murli Garu and Venkatrao Garu and Lakshmidevi Garu for joining this today's session and being a co-host. And thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you all.
Your
Thank
guidance,
you all.
your
Good
guidance
night,
and
Shubharatri.
Your guidance and experience are saving many. And with those, we conclude today's webinar. Thank you all.
Sarve Janaha